This is your WLAK Daily News Roundup for Lake Air, 107.5 FM and 1260 AM in Amory.
Civic Media News. I'm Terry Bell. Here's what Wisconsin needs to know. The state Supreme Court is asking for responses to Planned Parenthood's lawsuit that seeks to recognize the constitutional right to abortion in Wisconsin. Planned Parenthood wants the court to take up a lawsuit by Sheboygan County's district attorney. The groups in the Planned Parenthood case have until a week from Friday to respond in writing. Governor Evers says Republican lawmakers made a big mistake by not answering his call for a special meeting of the Joint Finance Committee Tuesday. Evers wanted them to release $125 million to fight PFAS pollution in Wisconsin's drinking water.
The people in the state of Wisconsin that are suffering are sick and tired of this.
Republicans fault Evers for vetoing the PFAS bill they sent him this spring. About a dozen states are rolling back their child labor laws, and lawmakers in Wisconsin are trying to do the same. Labor leaders are pushing against it.
It's important for kids to get a good work ethic, but at the same time, these kids need to make sure that they are getting enough sleep, that they are able to participate in their school, and really making sure that that balance is there.
Stephanie Bloomingdale is president of the Wisconsin AFL-CIO. 4 people with disabilities are suing for easier voting in Wisconsin. The group wants the Wisconsin Elections Commission to let them vote electronically. Wisconsin doesn't allow it, but 13 other states do. Electronic absentee voting for Wisconsin residents is only for military or overseas voters. Wisconsin's embattled top elections administrator just won 2 national awards for keeping elections safe and accurate. Megan Wolf is the administrator of the Wisconsin Elections Commission. This week, she won the American Society for Public Administration's National Public Service Award. Back in March, the Election Verification Network gave Wolf its Public Service Award. The Marquette University Law School is releasing the results of its April poll of Wisconsin voters today. The last poll found President Biden and Donald Trump split the state evenly in a head-to-head race, with Trump pulling slightly ahead in a 5-way race. This will be the first Marquette poll on the U.S. Senate race since Republican Eric Hovde got in. I'm Terry Bell, Civic Media News. Now here's what you need to know closer to home.
For WLAK News, I'm James Kelly. Superior officials are looking to give first responders more time for parental leave. Superior City Councilor Jenny Van Sickle is leading the charge after some first responders told her they needed to use their PTO time to get the maximum amount of parental leave, leaving them with no off time after having their child. Councilor Van Sickle says the policy change is especially necessary with the increased number of women joining the law enforcement field. The proposal would also give 6 weeks off for a lost pregnancy. The Hartley Nature Center in Duluth is in need of a new executive director. According to a Northern News Now report, the center has announced their current executive director, Tom O'Rourke, will be leaving the organization to take the same role at the Ernest Oberholzer Foundation. O'Rourke had served as the Nature Center's leader since 2011, and the board of the organization praised him for his hard work and dedication to environmental education. The Hartley Nature Center is actively looking for a replacement. The man involved in an August drive-by shooting in Duluth has been sentenced to 40 years in prison. 25-year-old Brandon Capone Williams-Gillard was convicted of aiding and abetting second-degree murder in connection to the drive-by shooting death of 19-year-old Paris Allen in December. Allen's father was reportedly in the courtroom during the sentencing and begged the judge to give Williams-Gillard the maximum sentence. The other man involved in the incident, 21-year-old Sanusi Bangora, will be tried this June. Strong winds left the Bong Bridge closed for a few hours after causing a semi-truck to tip over. According to the Minnesota State Patrol, the empty FedEx truck tipped over amid the strong winds and struck a power pole standing on the median of the bridge on Tuesday afternoon. The crash ended up blocking the left lane and stopping all traffic heading into Duluth entirely. Authorities were able to clean up the scene of the accident and reopen the bridge around 8 p.m. Nobody was reported injured in the windy crash. Cenovus Energy has announced they will sponsor a new state-of-the-art soccer field and athletic hub in the Superior School District. According to a Fox 21 report, Cenovus will contribute to the construction of a new soccer field at Cooper Elementary School, and that space will also be used for other sports like lacrosse. With the grant funding from Cenovus, the Superior Soccer Association will be able to buy new equipment and add security measures to allow for bathroom access during practices and games at the new field. The Wisconsin Department of Transportation is reminding residents that it's National Work Zone Awareness Week. According to the DOT, there were over 2,000 crashes in Wisconsin work zones last year. As the weather begins to warm up enough for road construction projects to resume, state officials are reminding drivers to use extra caution when driving through a work zone and follow all applicable laws, namely changes in the speed limit. Drivers should be extra focused when driving through a construction zone. The Minnesota Department of Transportation has shared a not-so-optimistic update for the 40th Avenue West Bridge over I-35 in Duluth. According to a Fox 21 report, the bridge was damaged last week by a truck carrying a load that was too high. The truck reportedly struck the bridge at around 8:30 a.m. last Thursday, and DOT officials now say the bridge will be closed for the foreseeable future due to the damage. Officials are bringing in a Twin Cities company to examine the full range of damage to begin making repair plans. Superior High School has named its new head football coach. According to a Northern News Now report, Rob Scott will return home to his home program after spending 3 years as the head coach at Eau Claire Memorial. Scott served as an educator and football coach in a variety of roles in Superior from 2006 to 2021 and will now take over for Bob Daymeyer after his 19 years with the program. In addition to his head coaching responsibilities, Scott will also work as a physical education teacher starting in the fall semester. And that's what you need to know. For WLAK News, I'm James Kelly.
The Brewers lose again at home. Hi, I'm Mike Clemens with sports. The Brewers lost to the Padres 6-3. The Crew got off to a bad start. Starting pitcher Wade Miley hit in the knee with a line drive by Manny Machado, top of the first inning on Bally Sports.
Ground ball off of Miley. Bowers picks it up. He'll tag out Machado. But now your concern is Wade Miley.
Yeah. That's the absolute last thing the Brewers need to see. Ball hit hard, got him right on the leg.
108 off the bat. Dave Yeager immediately out to check on Wade. Dealt with shoulder and groin issues in spring training and now gets a comebacker right off of his lower half. And Wade's going to stay in this ball game.
Miley stayed in the game through 3 innings. Manager Pat Murphy.
Showing his teammates that while he was only destined to probably pitch 4, how about that? You know what I mean? Stick in there after getting drilled. Most people, it's not fractured, which is good, but it's going to be good and sore.
It's the first series loss of the season for the Brewers. NBA, the Bucks getting ready for the Pacers on Sunday. Damian Lillard unable to practice yesterday after playing in Orlando.
His Achilles is growing. We just want to make sure we want him to be as close to 100% as possible if you can be that at this point.
That's Bucks head coach Doc Rivers. With sports, I'm Mike Clemens.
On your entertainment beat, I'm Pete Schwaba. SNL cast member Heidi Gardner laughed so hard and broke character so blatantly during an SNL sketch that she says it caused her anxiety. The skit from last weekend involved Gardner as a talk show host with a studio audience behind her as she interviewed Kenan Thompson, who played an AI expert. During the interview, Ryan Gosling sat behind her dressed as Beavis from Beavis and Butthead. Kenan Thompson pointed this out to the host, and they had him move, only to replace him with Mikey Day, who played Butthead, and looked hilarious. When Thompson's character called attention to Butthead, Gardner turned to tell him to move as well and saw him for the first time and lost it. She literally could not contain herself the rest of the skit. Gardner said it was Day's exposed gums and teeth that made her lose control. Vulture.com says the show had kicked the idea around for 5 years before actually using it, which is crazy. It's one of the funniest things I've seen on Saturday Night Live in years. I recommend Googling immediately. Wouldn't it be fun if famous character actor Steve Buscemi was your principal? Buscemi, whose credits include The Big Lebowski, Fargo, and Reservoir Dogs, will join the cast of Wednesday, an offshoot of The Addams Family. The show is based on Wednesday Addams' character's teenage coming-of-age years. Production was interrupted on the Netflix show during the actors and writers' strikes, but will resume later this month in Ireland. Sesame Street writers have voted unanimously to strike if they don't get a new deal. The writers of PBS iconic children's shows say they will walk if a deal is not reached by this Friday. Negotiations for a new contract started back on February 13, and if the parties can't reach an agreement, a representative for the Writers Guild East said the workshop writers are prepared to hit the streets and picket on April 24th. It is unclear if they will hit the actual streets or just picket on Sesame Street, which probably wouldn't be very effective. Like father, like sons, James McCartney and Sean Ono Lennon are making music together. The sons of the famous Beatles collaborated on a song called Primrose Hill. The guys both have solo careers that have seen modest success. Paul McCartney recently shared the new song on his social media. Both men come from homes with famous fathers and loving but tone-deaf mothers. Pamela Anderson will join Liam Neeson in the reboot of Paramount's Naked Gun.
Anderson might seem like a strange addition to this satirical comedy, but she has chops. She poked fun at herself in the 2017 Baywatch film and was also in Scary Movie 3. And Liam Neeson, of course, always has a wisecrack just before blowing a bad guy who threatened his family's brains out. The untitled project from Paramount is expected to be completed in time for a June 18th, 2025 release. For more showbiz fun, tune in to Nightlight with me, Pete Schwaba, weeknights from 7 to 9 p.m. on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Cloudy with scattered showers likely today. We'll get to 57 for a high this afternoon. It'll be windy, too, with west wind gusting to around 35. Tonight, mostly cloudy, 41. Tomorrow, partly cloudy, and a bit cooler with scattered showers. Our high near 54. I'm meteorologist Sean Cable. Currently, it's 47.
That's your WLAK Daily News Roundup from Civic Media. Subscribe to this podcast on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you find your podcasts. Find more news at lakeair.radio.